All right, let's call to order at 7:06 PM, the March 10th, 2022 Park and Recreation Special Meeting. And now it's yours.
There we go.
No chat functions available, all that fun stuff.
All right, Alicia.
I can get this thing. Let's go back
We
to.
kick you out again.
That's okay. I'm just trying to fix what it keeps doing to me. So that was why I was late.
Oh, no worries.
It just keeps, when I try to do the show, it puts little pictures on my screen that I don't want there. So I'm like, close master, and then all of a sudden you'll see these pictures. So I'm like deleting them so I can show you guys the presentation.
If you can't pull it up for some reason, you can go through it and we could send the slides to them later.
No, I'd like them to see them. It's just it's
Okay.
the most bizarre thing, and I don't know why it's doing it. That one worked. That one worked. I apologize for the delay on this one because I don't know why it's doing it.
See this really quick. So while you're working on that, I'll just go over. So for tonight, we are just discussing the budget as we move forward into the next fiscal year. So fiscal year 22 is ending, and that will end on essentially June 30th. And then on July 1st, we'll be back into the new fiscal year. So we've been going through over the last few months, you know, we've all talked about what the budget is going to be and what it's looking like. So we want to have that update from Alicia just before we get into the warrant article actually being published and going out to the public. So tonight we'll just go over some of the things in reference to our enterprise fund, our general fund, and we will be creating a revolving fund. So those items we'll all discuss tonight. If you have questions, please ask. And in a future meeting, probably at April, we'll have you decide to take votes in support or not of these articles. So that's kind of a quick summation on what we're trying to accomplish tonight.
So there's no action that's required of us tonight other than absorbing?
Absorb, please and thank you. Yep, that's it.
Okay.
I just want
Still not working.
to one of those things where everything just I'm gonna hit.
I do.
And I'm gonna reopen it again and hope that it does not do that.
We'll give you a big cheer, I hope.
Yeah, I hope it didn't save any of that. Okay, good. Thank God. All right, let's try again. Are you able to see my screen?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
So I'm just gonna leave it like this. Otherwise, it just starts doing all sorts of wacky things. So I'm gonna leave it
Okay.
alone. So the PRCE counting change is Melanson CPAs, our external auditors. They want us to change from an enterprise fund under Mass General Law, Chapter 44F, 53F and a half, to a departmental revolving fund under 44F, 53E and a half, as funny as that sounds. The reason why is they want the people who are non-programmatic should have been in the general fund, and any people who do programs should be in a revolving fund. It should constantly be revolving, because in an enterprise fund, it has to be self-sustaining, and the town is always subsidizing. So the town absorbed into the general fund budget 3 full-time positions, including their benefits for the director, assistant director, and part-time office coordinator. And the town also put into the budget the utilities and added $20,000 for special town events. Well, what's the benefit of changing from an enterprise fund to a revolving fund? Enterprise funds retained earnings or reserves must be certified by DOR annually before you can appropriate or use those funds. Revolving funds, on the other hand, are in the town bylaw, and there's a spending cap that is voted each year. And you can spend up to the fund balance as long as it doesn't exceed the cap, so they don't have to wait for me to get certification from DOR to start expending funds. So we spoke to the state and they allowed us to keep the enterprise fund open simultaneously while opening the new proposed revolving fund. So Alicia will be able to spend down whatever balance is left. So I'm guesstimating 263,091 as what will be in her fund at the end of the year. And that 82,000 can go to salary and wages and 181,091 can go to expenses. Any questions on this slide?
So it just means that we're going to be keeping the enterprise open and it won't be closed like we said previously. We'll wait till the money is expended out of it before we bring it back to town meeting for it to be closed.
Correct.
I think that's another good point there is, that's essentially going to be our debit account. So we'll debit everything out of the enterprise fund, we won't put any expenditures towards the revolving fund to help build up a cushion there.
Yep.
And then this is the newly proposed revolving fund article showing that, that it's under the Parks and Rec Community Education Program will be the name of the revolving fund. It's under the control of the Park and Recreation Commission. And it's for fees charged for programs and services provided by PRC. You can pay salaries and wages, services, equipment, expenses associated with programming. And it begins in fiscal 2023. And then Alicia came up, we rounded it up to 1.1 million is what the estimate is for the revolving fund for fiscal year 23. So that would be the spending cap. Okay. By changing the accounting from Mass General Law 4453 F.5 to 53 E.5, you will satisfy the audit recommendation. The costs for your non-program staff, including benefits, have been moved to the general fund. Program staff will be charged to the revolving fund along with their benefits, and these will be factored into their program costs. Thank you, and any questions?
Sweet and simple.
Yeah.
Great, thank you.
So how does the revolving fund deal with the change in fiscal year where the funding a lot of the revenue comes in at the end of one fiscal year and the expenditures go out in the following fiscal year?
That's why we're trying to build up a cushion. So they're trying to expend out of the enterprise first and start depositing their receipts effective July 1 into that revolving fund. So we can start building a balance in there. Because timing is kind of, I think Alicia told me some of the stuff you guys start in June, I think you said earlier, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah, so we'll have a bit of a timing gap there because when it gets voted, it will be voted for the start of the year, which would be July 1. So even though she's doing stuff in June and collecting stuff in June, I would just tell her to put those receipts into her revolving. And as long as she doesn't exceed the cap, she should be fine.
So I think the answer to your question might be, once it's that cushion, it's exactly the namesake. It's a revolving fund. It just keeps going. It just rolls
Okay.
on. It rolls automatically.
So we need to get enough in to start so we're not going negative at some point, or is that?
Correct.
Yeah.
So what I wanted to do was close the enterprise fund and transfer the funds into your revolving, and the state wouldn't allow it. But the state said, no, we won't allow that, but we'll allow you to keep it open, let them expend it while they also have this new revolving.
Okay, so it will open sometime after town meeting. We'll
Yes.
take whatever funds come in starting then and start to build that spend out of, okay.
So the enterprise is only, we're not going to put any revenue into it. We're just going to be expending down till we drain all of the funds out of it. And then all of the receipts, we're only going to be putting that into the revolving for the time being.
And we think we're going to be safe, as far as building that cushion.
Yeah, I think, we've been looking really great this year. We're getting back closer to normal numbers, which is really great to be able to see. So the only thing that we can't really foretell is what's going to happen with the economy with this new
Right.
war coming on. So we will take it as we have to along the way and make changes if needed. We can always come back to town meeting in fall and amend anything if we need to. I'd rather not, but if it's needed, that is always a possibility.
Okay, that makes sense. How'd you come up with 1.1 million as a cap?
So what we do is we calculate ultimately what we're going to bring in as far as revenue and wages and expenditures, and all of that is around $1.1 million. So essentially we'll have 1.1 million coming through the department.
Gotcha.
Doesn't mean we're keeping it.
And so what's the effect of that cap? Is it a cap on spending? Is it a cap on?
It's just spending. So if she collects more, that's great. It
Okay,
just falls down into her fund balance. And then when she does her next calculation, if she wants to use that, plus whatever she calculates, she can add that to her cap.
okay, so the cap is the cap adjusted at town meeting every year, or what's?
Every year, yep, the cap's
Okay.
adjusted every year.
So we'll have to create a budget just like we have been doing, except you guys will actually probably see more of the budget, or I shouldn't say you guys, because you guys get to see the budget, but on a town meeting basis, they'll get to see more of the depth of that. Whereas the enterprise, it was really just revenue, expenditures, wages, and that was it.
This isn't one of those revolving funds where it kind of gets like a balance gets swept into the general fund, is it? It's like there's no, okay.
No, stays with the fund.
So
So the only thing that needs to be done, it makes it so much easier than the way she had to do it as an enterprise, like all of this. All she has to do is tell me what the cap is, and we put the cap number in.
Yeah,
So it's not Kevin, because Kevin's a recreation director as well. So it's not a recreation revolving, it's just a departmental revolving. So
okay.
there's a difference. Yep. Any other questions?
If none, or if you come up with some later, you can always email me too. I'll be happy to answer. Okay, I'm gonna click
Okay.
stop share.
Okay. All right. If no one has any additional questions, then you know what time it is.
Thank you, commissioners. Thank you, Tim, and thank you, Alicia.
Thank
Thank you.
you. You've been
Thank you.
Thanks, Alicia.
You're welcome.
amazing.
Thank
So
you.
much help. It's been really appreciated. So I really, really want to thank you.
You're very welcome. Anytime. Happy to help.
Thank you.
Take care.
Right.
Bye.
Bye-bye. We don't have a picture of us leaving.
Well, you have
Well-
to
I
adjourn
will
the
make a
meeting.
motion
We
to
have to adjourn
adjourn.
the meeting, my friends.
Well, I know, but we've had pictures to let us know it was time to do it in the past.
Oh, the end slide. Fred doesn't.
This is
Fred doesn't have his end
special.
slide.
It's a special meeting. I did make slides for you.
All right, Tim turned his hat around, so there's our cue. Do we have a motion to adjourn?
Hang on.
Yes, we have a motion to adjourn.
Seconds
There,
that.
there you go, Fred.
All in favor, Aaron,
Yes, sir.
Solomon,
Yes.
Mike,
Yep.
Kevin,
Yep.
and I'm yes. And thank you so much, Tim. My night is complete.
No
All
problem.
right, you all have a nice evening. We'll see you in April.